Growing up, my family was everything to me. We weren't just close, we were inseparable. Sunday dinners, family vacations, and holidays spent together were staples of my life. My older brother, Jake, was the pillar of this tight-knit unit. At 32, he was everything I aspired to be: successful, married to his high school sweetheart, Sarah, with two beautiful kids. Jake was my hero, my mentor, and the person I turned to for advice on life, relationships, and everything in between. I'm 25 now, and for the past 3 years, I've been in what I thought was a solid relationship with my girlfriend, Emily. She was 24, smart, kind, and had become a part of the family. We had talked about a future together, moving in, maybe even marriage. I'd never questioned her loyalty or our connection, at least until a few weeks ago. That's when everything changed. It started with small things. Emily began acting distant. She'd cancel our plans, telling me she was going out for a girls' night, something she had rarely done before. She seemed preoccupied, checking her phone more than usual, and there was a weird tension between us. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was going through something personal, something she wasn't ready to talk about. But deep down, my gut was telling me something was wrong. It was a subtle feeling, like a knot tightening in my stomach. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew I couldn't ignore it either. One night, I was hanging out with Jake at his house. We were having a few beers, watching the game like we often did. It was a normal, casual evening. I felt at ease around him, as I always had. We laughed, reminisced about old times, and shared stories about life. That night, I felt grateful to have such a strong bond with my brother. Then his phone buzzed. I didn't think much of it until I caught a glimpse of the screen. It was Emily's face, her contact photo. My stomach dropped. I watched Jake's demeanor shift slightly as he quickly turned the phone over and shoved it into his pocket. That single, small movement was enough to confirm what I'd been trying to deny. Something was very wrong. I didn't confront him right away. Part of me couldn't believe what I had seen, and the other part didn't want to. Maybe there was an innocent explanation. Maybe they were planning a surprise for me. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But the knot in my stomach tightened. Over the next few days, my anxiety grew. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think straight, and I couldn't focus on anything except that brief moment of seeing Emily's face on Jake's phone. The what-ifs were driving me insane, so I decided to confront Emily. We met up at a coffee shop a few days later, and I asked her point blank if she was seeing someone else. Her face immediately changed. She looked away, her hands trembling slightly as she fumbled for an answer. "Is it my brother?" I asked, my voice barely holding back the emotion boiling inside me. Her eyes widened in shock, as if she hadn't expected me to figure it out. She tried to deny it at first, but I kept pressing. After what felt like an eternity, she finally broke down and admitted it. She had cheated on me with Jake. I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. My mind went blank for a second, my body numb as the words hit me like a freight train. My girlfriend of 3 years had slept with my older brother, the man I admired most in the world. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or hit something. All I knew was that everything I thought I knew about my life, my relationship, and my family had just been shattered. Emily tried to explain it away, saying it was a one-time thing, that it meant nothing, and that she had been confused, lost, and looking for comfort in someone she trusted. But none of that mattered to me. It wasn't just about the act. It was about the betrayal, the lies, the fact that the two people I trusted most had destroyed my trust. I didn't want to hear her excuses. I couldn't even look at her. I told her to leave, and she did, leaving me sitting there in that coffee shop, alone, my world crumbling around me. The days that followed were a blur of anger, sadness, and confusion. I kept replaying everything in my head, every moment with Emily, every conversation with Jake. How long had this been going on? How could Jake, of all people, do this to me? I couldn't wrap my head around it. The betrayal wasn't just about Emily. It was about my brother, the man who was supposed to have my back no matter what. I didn't tell anyone at first. I kept it all inside, letting it fester. I knew I had to confront Jake, but I couldn't bring myself to do it yet. Every time I thought about it, my anger surged, but so did my pain. I felt like I was being torn in two. How do you confront someone who's supposed to be your closest ally about something so devastating? Then there was the question of what to do with this information. Jake had a wife, Sarah, and 2 kids who adored him. His family was my family. We spent holidays together, birthdays, Sunday dinners. If I told Sarah the truth, it would destroy their family. Their kids would lose their father, their life would fall apart. And a part of me wanted that. A part of me wanted Jake to feel the pain he had caused me, to watch his life crumble the way mine had. But another part of me felt torn. Could I really ruin my brother's marriage? Could I destroy the lives of my niece and nephew just to get back at Jake? I hated him for what he had done, but I couldn't deny that he was still my brother, and they were still my family. Eventually, the anger became too much to bear. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I called Jake and told him we needed to talk. We met at a bar, a neutral place where we wouldn't be interrupted. As soon as I saw him, my heart raced. My hands were clenched into fists, and I had to force myself to stay calm. "Why?" I asked, my voice shaking with rage and hurt. "Why did you do it?" Jake didn't deny it. He didn't even try to lie. He just looked down at his drink, unable to meet my eyes. "I messed up," he said quietly. "I don't know what else to say." That was it. No grand explanation, no attempt to justify what he had done. Just a weak admission of guilt. I wanted to scream at him, to hit him, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain he had caused me. But instead I just sat there, shaking with anger, waiting for him to say something that would make sense of it all. But nothing made sense. He didn't give me any real explanation. He claimed it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that he didn't want to ruin our relationship. But the damage was done. "How long?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Just once," he said. "It was just once." I didn't believe him. Maybe it had been just one time, or maybe it had been going on for longer. But at that point, it didn't matter. The trust was gone. After that confrontation, I was left with a choice. Do I tell Sarah? Do I destroy Jake's marriage, the life he had built with her and their kids? A part of me wanted to so badly. I wanted him to feel the same devastation I felt. I wanted his world to crumble the way mine had. I wanted justice. But then I thought about Sarah. She didn't deserve this. She was innocent in all of this, and so were their kids. They didn't deserve to have their lives turned upside down because of Jake's betrayal. If I told her, it wouldn't just hurt Jake, it would hurt them too. And as much as I hated him in that moment, I didn't want to be the one to cause that kind of pain. But the anger inside me didn't go away. It gnawed at me every day, pushing me closer to the edge. I couldn't keep living with this secret, but I didn't know if I had it in me to blow up his life. It's been weeks since I found out about the betrayal, and I still don't know what to do. Emily and I are done. There's no coming back from this for us. As for Jake, our relationship is shattered. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive him. I haven't told Sarah yet. I don't know if I ever will. But I do know this, my brother, the person I looked up to more than anyone else, is no longer the man I thought he was. I've lost a relationship. But more than that, I've lost my family as I knew it. Now, I have to figure out how to move on from this, how to rebuild my life without the people I once trusted most.